Thaddeus Bruce, man, what kind of single you got releasing so far? I need to hear about that. Aaron Rowe, what's going on, man? Right here. What's up, man? Nothing, man. Just here. Just getting ready to talk and we're getting ready to just have a conversation on this wonderful Wednesday. Want to say good afternoon, Tallahassee, Gadsden County, Jefferson, Liberty, Wakulla. Want to say hello to the world because we're on 3 platforms streaming live, and I'm so excited to be here with you. Renee Williams, want to say good afternoon to you. Aaron Thaddeus Bruce, good afternoon. Hey, go ahead on and tag a neighbor, tag a friend. And for those of you who are tuned in your vehicles, at your job, wherever you're tuned in from, I need you to go ahead on and share with your friends that one of the hottest talk shows is now on the air. And today is the last Wednesday in the month of July. So therefore, I wanted to come on to make sure that we talk about some important things that's going to be happening in the month of August. That's right, the month of August. It's important for everybody listening to do something that is your job to do, and that is to vote. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. All right. I want to say good afternoon to Montreal Harris. I want to say good afternoon to LaShanta Hall. I want to say good afternoon to you. Listen, go ahead on and tag a friend. And we're going to be talking about, I want to ask you all some questions. For those of you who are on my social media page, want to ask you a few questions, want to get your feedback, and want to give those of you who want to call in an opportunity to call in and voice your opinion, because we're going to be talking about voting. We're going to be talking about candidates. We're going to be talking about issues concerning our community and how important it is that we get out and vote. How important it is. It's very important. So we're going to be talking about that. And basically, I want to say to you that this is an hour, this is a moment where you cannot allow no one to make you feel or believe that your vote does not matter. Your vote matters like never before. Also, going to be talking about the pastors that made a major endorsement on yesterday when it comes to the endorsement of Rudy Ferguson, who's running for city commissioner, along with our mayor pro tem who is up for re-election. Going to be talking a little bit about that. Also going to be talking about NAACP. Their Freedom Banquet is coming up August 15. And my understanding is if you haven't gotten your table now, hey, I'm going to have to find out from Ataki, boy, is it too late? And so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to also be talking about what really it looks like when candidates skip past primaries to talk about who they're running against in the general election. So what does that say? That says the person who filed a run as a candidate in the primary, you're not even considered in the race. Hey, keep it locked right here, man. We're just going to do some real good talking today right here over Hallelujah 95.3. It's the Greg James Community Show. And this is one thing that you got to understand. Tag, share your thoughts, your ideas. They are yours. And you don't have to convince other people of what you think, what you feel, what you believe. Those are yours. You don't have to get into arguments with people about what you feel, what you think or believe. They are your thoughts. They are your ideas. They are your beliefs. So don't get caught in this season arguing, and don't get caught going through unnecessary conversation with people about what they believe and who they believe in and why they believe in them. It's okay for you to have that belief. Okay. Well, listen, we get ready to do some real talking when I get back on the air. But in the meantime, I want to get these songs to bless your life like never before. And when we come back, we're going to do some real talking. We're going to talk about some posts that I made. I made a post today about first-time teachers having a boot camp at the Leon County School Board. 69 first-time teachers, 3 or 4 day boot camp. I saw that this morning, and like I said, I applaud them, but then I was a little angered. And my anger is my anger. So therefore, your thoughts concerning that are your thoughts concerning it. Keep it locked right here at 95.3 FM. I'll be right back, and we're going to talk right here on the Greg James Community Show. Let's go. Hey, family, go ahead on and tag and share. Let's get people, get your friends in, get some of the thoughts out. What are your thoughts about Renee? Those of you who are tuned in, what are your thoughts about when you see yeah, we're gonna see what your thoughts are when it comes to I need you to put this in the chat. Take a stand. I don't know whether y'all can hear that. That's the key. Just go ahead on and put that in the thread. That's right. In life, you got to learn. You got to stand. Say what? You got to take a stand. So listen, this is what we're going to talk about a little bit today, how important it is to take a stand and how much you got to do in standing. And the Bible and the book of Ephesians said, when you've done all to stand, then still stand. And I think it's important that we got to stand in every area of our lives when it comes to, even now we're in a very critical time, which is a political season. And it's a time when by your voices must be heard. Your voices must be recognized. And certainly you got to be able to take a stand. And that stand is going to be critical to how you are seen, how you are heard. And on yesterday, over at the Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church under the leadership of Pastor Joseph Wright, the Tallahassee interdenominational ministerial leader, called for pastors to meet and discuss what was vitally important, and that was our election that's coming up. And certainly there is a very, very heated and very I guess it has a little bit of controversy with it. That's the race between the elected Commissioner Jack Porter, who's up for re-election, who's running against Rudy Ferguson, who is certainly been a major voice in our community, one who has been advocating, one who has been a frontline soldier for the community, one who has been fighting for needs and issues and has made a lot of progress in our community and doing community work. And he is in a contest for city commission with City Commissioner Jack Porter. And on yesterday, clergies came together from across our community to gather to not only endorse Rudy Ferguson and Mayor Pro Tem Curtis Richardson, but also to talk about why we must as leaders encourage our congregations, encourage our communities that we got to get out and vote. And I know we hear this time and time again, well, my vote really doesn't matter, but your vote matters. Your voice matters. And I think I want to give a big shout out to Pastor Courtney Hagler from the Jacob Chapel Baptist Church, who, man, he said something that was so profound in the book of Joshua, chapter 6. He talked about the fact that they were dealing with a wall. And in the fact of dealing with the wall, they had to work and they had to walk. You missed that. He said they had to work and they had to walk. And he made it clear that if we're going to see the necessary changes that we need to see in our communities, we got to take the Joshua pattern. We got to walk. And the walls are up. There is walls of racism. There is walls of violence. There is walls of unfair treatment. There is walls of injustice. And if these walls are going to come down, we got to walk to the ballot box and we got to cast our vote. Casting your vote is like making the noise that brought the wall down. They walked and then they made a sound. So it's at the booth, at the voting booth, where you and I must make a sound. And certainly that on yesterday, the way that Pastor Courtney from the Jacob Chapel Baptist Church shared with us, the way that he expound on that was an amazing analogy of what we must do as people who have the power to vote. We got to walk, and then our voice in the voting booth is going to make a sound. So on yesterday, big shots out to Pastor Joseph Wright, pastor of the Jacob Chapel, not Jacob Chapel, but pastor of Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church, for bringing local pastors together and certainly making our voices known, making our presence seen, that our support for city commissioner is with City Commissioner Rudy Ferguson, who's running against the incumbent Jack Porter. And we're also supporting Mayor Pro Tem Curtis Richardson, who's running against Dot Inman Johnson is running against him. So we made that clear on yesterday that that's where we are. And when you make a stand, then make a stand. Don't be moved by what others are saying, what others are doing. And we challenge pastors that are in our city, that are pastoring. This is a season where your voice must be lifted from the pews to the pavements. This is a season where your voice must be heard within the walls of our boulevards and of our streets and of our avenues. And all of us can't do the same thing, but we can become a supporter of those who are fighting for justice. We can become a supporter of those who are advocating for equal rights. We can become a supporter of those who are fighting for a fair educational system and a fair playing field. So we must learn the power of uniting, so that when we do unite, we can be taken seriously in our efforts. This is not a season to let people conquer and divide us. We have allowed that to happen so long until we're so divided, until the dividing that has happened in our community is destroying our communities, all because we can't come together, work together, and then speak with one clarion voice. Well, I want to applaud Pastor Joseph Wright for his efforts throughout this whole time that he's been talking to pastors about coming out and uniting, and let's get behind what we feel will be the best two candidates for city commission seats on our city dais. And so we're certainly excited about that. And we're going to be talking more about more races that are coming up, Shirley. We're going to be talking more about how important it is to know who's running, know what they say they are going to do, and understand that what you say you're going to do should already have some implications of what you already been doing. So we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be highlighting some more candidates as we move throughout the month of August. But wanted to give a big shout out to Pastor Wright, and certainly wanted to have him on, but his schedule would permit because of some prior engagement. So somebody said, Jack Porter, why not? I live on the north side of town. I live over in the Griffin Heights area, and basically, me personally, I certainly feel like I want a representative who understands what's happening in my neighborhood, how to advocate for my neighborhood, how to make sure that in my neighborhood I'm able to have some of the same things that are happening in other neighborhoods. So that's my preference. Rudy Ferguson for city commissioner, and that's what I stand on, and that's what I speak about. So with that being said, big shout out once again to Pastor Joseph Wright for his bringing pastors together to talk about the importance of voting and why we must support candidates that understand some of the things that we are seeing. And to talk about, I was reading an article. Let me see, can I find that? Whereby the PBA, I believe it was PBA director, really came down on Commissioner Porter and Dot Inman Johnson, who's running against Curtis Richardson, for their stands against the police department. I mean, who in their right thought process would feel that we should look at doing to the police department some of the thought processes that they have put in place. And we'll talk about that a little later on, but we also going to get you to understand today that you got to get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. You can't sit back and not go to the polls. You got to get out and you got to vote. So keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. Big shots out to Pastor Joseph Wright for making the clarion call that we must, pastors, leaders, call forth congregations and communities to get out and vote like never before. Keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back. All right. Want to say good afternoon. Shirley, how are you? Go ahead on the tag and share. Let's get everybody. Let's get everybody tagging and share. Jennifer, how are you? All right, Aaron. For those who cannot vote, what can we do? Aaron, I'm gonna talk about that. Just give me once we come back on air, I'm gonna talk about that. That's a good question. That's a good question. Want to say good afternoon to Talithia Edwards. She just joined us. Aaron, I'm going to get back to that. For those who cannot vote, what can we do? We're going to talk about that. Just give me a few minutes, and we're going to get back to that. I know we can make it. Yes, we can. Listen, want to say we got a good question that came through the virtual platform from Mr. Aaron Roll. Got a good question that came from him, and that question is: for those who cannot vote, what can we do? Well, Aaron, listen, I want to say this, that first of all, we need to figure out, what stops you from the right to vote, even though now it may be too late. We have to figure that out for the general. But what can those who cannot vote, what can they do? Well, they can be a part of Project 300. I am so excited about the number of men, and there are several who cannot vote, but they're volunteering to help us do voter education. They're volunteering to help us do voter outreach. It's kind of like when I ran for office, Aaron, you know how we was out knocking on doors and passing out literatures. Well, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be getting out in communities. We're going to try to make sure we have literature to educate and to inform voters and to inspire them. So you may not have the chance right now to vote, but you got the chance to encourage so many more voices that they can vote. And you will be instrumental in being a driver of so many people to the poll that normally probably would not have made it, but because they got an extra push from someone like you, then that made all the difference in the world. So we are excited about the fact that you want to know what you can do. So I'll be getting in touch with you to join us to help facilitate. We're going to move the numbers in some of our low districts, especially in some of our communities of color, where the voter turnout has been really, really low. And I just feel and believe that people have to find a reason to vote. They have to be inspired to go do it. I'm grateful that when I ran for office, the time that I did run, it encouraged and it motivated so many people who could resonate with the message, and they were able to get out and vote. So we have a lot of people have been reaching out saying, what must we do? How can we get involved? So Aaron, thank you so much for asking that question. All right. So listen, I made a post the other day. I made a post the other day about, well, no, it wasn't the other day. It was today. I made a post today about the Leon County Schools beginning 2024. They spent 4 days at our beginners teachers boot camp. It was the first time I saw this morning, and they said they're excited and they're ready for the first day, which is on August 1st. First time teachers, I think well over 69 participated in a boot camp for first time teachers. And I made a post about it because I applauded the efforts of the Leon County Schools, but I also was angered by it. And that's my post. And that's my commentary. And I was angered because personally, it should have been something that should have been in place. And if it would have been in place, there are several first-time teachers that I'm aware of that did not get the kind of administrative support that they needed. And because of that, basically, they were terminated and few have been criminalized. So I was happy to see that that was in place, but I was sad that it has happened at a time when we've dealt with a few personally first-time teachers that I'm aware of who've had to go through so much trauma in dealing with the school administration that they were working at and having problems trying to reach administrations at the school board level, even including the superintendent. So to see this was wonderful, but yet it did not give me a sense of knowing that it's something that's been in the work. Maybe it's been in the work, but I just feel like it's a reactive process, because if it's been in the work, then there should have been a lot of work being done to help a lot of teachers who were struggling with situations that they were dealing with, but did not find any support for that. So at the end of the day, those who make comments, I'm happy for your comments and I appreciate it. And at the same time, I make my comments and I make my opinions on what I feel are my thoughts. So first-time teachers who are going back to school, make sure that you have the kind of support that you need. Make sure you're a school administrator. Make sure they embrace you and not isolate you. Make sure that they are providing you with everything that's going to make your first-time encounter in a classroom an experience that you will want to enjoy. Because at the end of the day, being a first time at anything, you face a lot of resistance, whether you're a first time teacher, you're a first time coach, whether you're a first time pastor at a church, whatever that first is, if you don't have the right support that you need, you're going to find yourself frustrated, and you're going to find yourself dealing with unnecessary stress, unnecessary pain. So I applaud them, but yet it does not take away the anger that I have felt in understanding what I've seen and what I've been able to hear about and been able to see. So that was a post that I shared on this morning. And then I asked for those teachers who transition to other careers to join me. And I appreciate the many, many inboxes that I got sharing your thoughts. But I come to realize that there are a lot of people who experience hardships and they much rather go on and not say anything and just live life and let that be a bygone situation. But that does not help our situation, nor does it help the situation that we're in. And I'm grateful. I was in a meeting earlier this morning, and I was telling the people that I was in a meeting with that maybe I say the wrong things, or maybe I speak too loud, or maybe I speak with a different approach to different matters, but you're not going to muffle or control my voice in my opinion on how I view things. My views may be different from yours, and because they're different from yours, that does not mean I'm mad at you. If you're mad with me, then that's your issue, not mine. But however, I really feel and believe that we've got to do a better job once we elect people to serve in office. We got to do a better job at holding them accountable to the commitments that they make, as opposed to allowing them to get out votes, get in office, and then they don't show back up until it's 2 years or 4 years. And certainly, I have definitely taken a different approach since I fought to get the right of ex-felons to vote again. But what makes the passion that I have so real is that I sat in the jail, I sat in the prison year after year, telling God that just give me a chance to get back to help, to fight for what I see is injustice in some of the areas. So my prison to myself, even after being free, is caring and fighting for people too much, to the point that you can care for people, fight for people who really don't care for themselves, nor will fight for themselves. So I want to encourage all of you at this moment and at this time, let's not take people who are advocating for granted. Let's not make the assumption that they're doing it for the limelight or they're doing it to be seen. Let's understand that there's a drive, there's a passion behind why they're doing what they're doing. And if they don't, then who? And if it's not you, then who? So let's be able to celebrate those who are in our communities, who are fighting. And that's why the chance I get to celebrate people who are doing a great work, I want to do that. That's what happened at our Tallahassee Leadership Prayer Breakfast, the Gathering of Watchmen. We celebrated 5 pastors who've been in this community for well over 30 years, fighting for people, making their voices heard. Sometimes they appreciate it, sometimes they're not. But most times they're called upon. Why? Because their voice matters in our community. We celebrated them. Then we celebrated over 13 men who are taking out time to mentor our boys, taking out time to invest in our community, taking out time to try to make our communities better. They're not doing it because they're receiving major checks. They're not doing it because they want their names in lights, but they're doing it because they see a need for it to be done. And because they see a need for it to be done, they go forth to do it. And I feel and believe that if we as a community is going to be empowered, then we must find a way to encourage. We must find a way to keep motivating those who are doing the work. We may not all do the same work, but we're working to make the community better. And so therefore, I want to say to you today that are listening to the broadcast, as we get ready for the month of August, as we get ready for voting, let's encourage. Let's do our homework. Let's do our research. Let's ask questions. Let's find out who are the candidates. Let's find out why. I mean, at the end of the day, this is my belief. Me and you may be friends. I may like you as a friend, but I may not like you as a candidate or as a person that I want to vote for. So if that's a problem, then that's a problem. So we have to be able to separate the two. And don't just vote for me because you like me. Vote for me because you know that I'm going to fight for the people that I'm going to represent. Vote for me because you know that I'm going to be at the forefront of making sure issues that are concerning our communities are being addressed. And we have to get to that place and carve out so much other stuff, because there's so much at stake in this election year. And at the end of the day, we fail to recognize people who are qualified. We fail to appreciate people who have gone forth to equip themselves to do great work in our communities, because we're so accustomed to being satisfied with what we're satisfied with. So this is getting us ready for the PEP rally, which is going to be August 15th at the Civic Center with the NAACP. That's right. We talked about that. And I think I spoke with the president this morning. And I think that if you have not gotten your table for the NAACP banquet, I think it's too late. I think it's really, really too late. And they're looking for an amazing time. That's August 15th. And it's called, the titles give me my ballot. The speaker is the Reverend Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant out of Atlanta, Georgia, the New Birth Church. So listen, let's get ready to do our part. Let's get ready to be encouragers rather than discouragers. And don't get upset if someone decides that you're not going to get their vote. Respect that and move on. If you can do that, that'll help make the world a better place. And you really want the best person in office. You want the best person working, whether it's city commission, whether it's judge, whether it's superintendent, whether it's sheriff, whether it's tax collector, whether it's clerk of courts, whether it's property appraiser. You want the best person. You want the best person, and a person who respects your friendship ought to be able to respect you telling them the truth. Okay? And when we can understand that, then we make for a better community. I wish we would get to a place where we can just identify one person and say, hey, we want you to run for this. I think you'll represent us well, as opposed to 10 people. You got the right to run. But do you have the heart? Do you have the attitude? Just because you're groomed to run, that don't mean you should be running. Okay? And that's what we got to get out of. Okay, somebody say, great advice. Many good candidates are not elected because they're not known, and many have not developed their own life. I agree. I agree. We are driven by popularity. And at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, I'm never working to be seen, but I want to be seen working. And you'll never understand. I was in a meeting this morning, and I had to explain that you'll never understand why I do what I do. I do what I do because I made a commitment in Edgefield, South Carolina, federal prison. When the day that I was supposed to be released, they said I had 40 more years to do. After life plus 40, the day that I was supposed to walk out of prison, I gave away everything I had. And the day that I was supposed to leave, I'm waiting to be discharged, to go to a halfway house. They said, you have 40 more years because your sentence is not concurrent, it's consecutive. And that means I had a split sentence. So that means I had to go back into the prison, looking at doing possibly 40 more years. So my conversation with God got serious. My conversation with God got deep. It got personal, because here it is. I've gone year after year committed to you. Here it is. I've changed my ways. And now you're saying I've got to do 40 more years because an error. But God said, I want you to remember the labor pains of your release, so that you would advocate and do what you have committed to me to do. So mentoring children who have parents incarcerated, being able to come out of prison. And at that time, Claudette Camardi was over the housing authority, being able to go into a housing authority and create an after-school program and a parenting program. It wasn't done because I wanted your attention. It wasn't done because I wanted you to say how well of a guy. No, it was done because I made a commitment that if I can help somebody, God, if you give me a chance, then that's what I'll do. I don't advocate because I need you to write me a check. I don't advocate because I look for you to do something special. No, I advocate because I believe that you need a second chance if I feel and believe that you're prepared for that. So I don't do it because I'm looking for you to do something for me. I do it because of what I made to him, which was a commitment. So here's what I want to say today. And I pray that everybody gets fired up, motivated to encourage somebody to get out and vote. And you got to know what your needs are in your community. And you got to know who's going to help address those needs. You got to know who you can call, and they're not going to send you to 30 people. And every person you talk to is going to send you to somebody else. But you're calling because we got a need. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea when it comes to this work. And I don't profess to be. But what you will know is that I'm serious about fairness. I'm serious about doing something that's going to change the way our communities are looking. I'm out of prison over 20 years and my neighborhood still looks the same. The same problems are occurring. And what are we saying? Vote for so-and-so, vote for so-and-so. But what is that vote going to do? What matter is going to be solved? So we gotta make decisions that's gonna drive destiny. We gotta make decisions that's going to really create change. And you may not like the person, but if they qualified to get the job done, then guess what we've got to do? We got to find that qualified person, and we got to rally behind them. Oh, absolutely, we need to change that in Griffin Heights. We definitely need to change what's going on in Griffin Heights. Absolutely. I got a call the other night where some kids had broken into some players' cars at Florida State and stole stuff out of the cars. And the tracking device showed that they are in Griffin Heights. So we got to stop that. We got to change that. So the calls I get, you never know about. We got to change what's going on in our communities, what's going on with our schools in our communities, what's going on with the crime in our communities, what's going on with housing in our community. We got community change on the agenda. And I'm pushing and supporting people who are serious about change. I mean, I came back to my neighborhood. That's where I'm at. I don't have to be in the neighborhood I'm in, but I'm there because that's the neighborhood that I created a lot of problems for. And that's the neighborhood I'm trying to bring solutions to. But if you can't work with people who can help bring solutions, then why are they serving you? Yes, parenting has to change. But we also got to be able to look at what the parenting needs are and then be able to provide solutions. Because at the end of the day, the parents we see now, they understand one thing: have a child, get more income. We got to change that mindset. One of the greatest things that I was ever appreciative of was our program called Michael, M-I-C-H-A, Mentoring is Changing a Heart. When we were in the Joe Louis area, there were so many children whose fathers were incarcerated, and we provided mentors. We provided mentors not only to the child, but mentors to the parents that were single, who didn't have GEDs. But we provided parent mentors who were able to help walk those parents through. If we're making a difference in your child's life, we got to make a difference in your life. So we got to get you from within living in this condition to becoming a first-time homeowner. We had parents who never dreamed of owning their own home because they were caught in a cycle. But we were able to break those cycles, not with funding. Not with funding, but with partnerships that I was able to establish. With friends who I was locked up with that were millionaires that I shared my vision with, who said, Greg, how much you need? And we were able to move programs in our communities that made a difference. I'll never forget some of the stories. And if you came to the gala, you heard some of the stories of some of the kids we mentored and some of the single parents who now homeowners and ended up with no formal education, but because we put a parenting mentorship in place, we got them in trade schools, and now they got trades, and now they're homeowners. But when you try to present what you do in community to establishments, and when you try to show them an out-of-the-box way of doing things, you got to have a meeting, to have another meeting, to have another meeting about the same meeting until those meetings mesmerize you and mentally it drains you. So you don't even want to meet. You just rather get off and do what you can without all the meetings, because all of the meetings gets you no money, but it gets you mentally frustrated. So this is why you got to get out and you got to vote. We got to vote, because you see what's happening. You see how friends advance who do nothing, but you also see how people who do all the work catch all the hell. I guess I better pause for a commercial break. I got to pause for a break. I got to pause for a break. I got to pause. Hallelujah. Thank you so much, Shirley. Family Resource Center Parent Focus Group, Monday, August 5th from 6:30 to 7:30, 202 South St. Augustine, Building A. Parents be there. That's right. This is what we got to have. We got to start having, listen to me, oh God, in the old communities, everybody was your parent. Now you got children who understand the power of picking up their phone, calling, and reporting on you. I dare you 20, 30 years ago, talking about picking up a phone, calling on your mama and your daddy. Doc D, you just shaking your head. You want to join in on this? Because I see you shaking your head back there. I dare you talk about picking up your phone. Let me put my headphones on. I hear you. Yeah. And now we're at a place whereby your children, parents now will attack you for trying to correct them. I don't think they hear you, Doc. Oh, they can't hear you. God. Okay, hold on. I need y'all to hear him. Say something. Say something, Doc. Seeing another child. Can y'all hear him now? Yeah, I was just saying about seeing another child do something. Hey, such and such was cursing, using some foul language. Like it ain't my child, so I ain't gonna say. Right, and Doc, and what we've got to do is we got to get back to the redevelopment of the thinking process of we all care for everybody that's in our community. Right. And no matter how much the world have changed, principles and precepts don't change. Right. So yes, ma'am, and no, sir, is still the order of the day. Yeah. So I had to bring Doc in because he was sitting behind the window and he was nodding his head, and I wanted him to tune in because we've got to get motivated. We got to get excited about discovering what our communities look like when there's unity. We got to get to that place that we can't sit around and say, "Oh, I see nothing, I don't hear nothing." No. I tell this story all the time. I had a motorcycle and the kids from my neighborhood, somebody came and took it out the yard. And hey, I wasn't finna argue. I wasn't finna call no police. I'm gonna go up on the corner where they hang out at, and I'm gonna say, "Hey, listen, this is what happened. Y'all know my motorcycle, what I drive in the neighborhood. At 5 o'clock, it needs to be back to my house. Okay, it needs to be back to my house by 5. And if not, this whole corner gonna be cleared out because you will not stand up here." And guess what happened? It returned. So here's what we've got to do. Okay, I like that, Keith. Here's what we got to do. We got to get involved. Everyone has to care. And this election cycle is about a shift that's going to take place. Whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. Whether you vote or not, it's going to happen. I like what Keith Rogers just said. They do what they can to go live, but they don't do what they should to save lives. And that is real. So much is at stake tonight. Listen, if you're available tonight, you need to be over at Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. I think it starts, let me see what time it starts. They're having a forum over there, and I think it starts, let me find out so that I can let you know you want to be there. It's with the superintendents. It's starting at 6 o'clock. It starts at 6 o'clock to 6:30. That's Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. That's over with Pastor Stanley Walker. Thank you all so much for sending me the message to announce it. They want to get everybody over, join us for an educational event to empower locals with knowledge about informed voting and new laws. So it's going to be happening tonight. Candidate Star Swain for superintendent supposed to be there. Rocky Hanna, current superintendent. Joe Burgess, candidate for superintendent, supposed to be there. Daniel, he's from District 5, and Jeremy Rogers, supposed to be there tonight. That's over at the Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. I had something else planned to do, but I'm going to make my plans to be there because I want to hear what is being said. Well, listen, I tell you what, listen, man, I pray today that you kind of bear with me. Sandra Saunders out of Jefferson, she says, I hope Jefferson County is listening. Well, I tell you, we are connected in Jefferson County, so I'm sure they are listening as well. Listen, the month of August is going to be Power Pack shows, but I just wanted to come on today. Just left the courthouse, just really mentally drained, just experiencing what I experienced today, sitting there looking at what is called justice, but however, it is just us. But I'm going to be keeping you update on some of the things that are going on. And, you know, I tell my ministry, I tell my leaders, I tell our church that I'm so thankful for them. I'm thankful for them that they embrace who I am. They embrace the passion, the love that I have for what I do. And I'm thankful to them for being as supportive of me as they are. And because of them, I'm able to do what I do freely. And I'm able to feel good about it because they understand my heart. And certainly on last weekend, a group of our members and our church, they participated with me in the vision of a backpack and just showed up. And we did a great thing. And certainly I want to thank so many for making that happen. But this is what I want to say as I get ready to leave the air. Don't minimize your voice. Okay, don't minimize your voice, please. This is not a season for you to get quiet when it comes to injustices that you see and you know. When we saw what happened to Miss Macy, just outright, I can't even explain it. But I do know that at the name of Jesus, I do know demons tremble. I do know that. And to see what happened to her tells us as faith believers that we are in some crucial and critical times. And as never before, you got to keep your mind stayed on him. You cannot allow yourself to leave without your armor on, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness. You got to go to Ephesians 6 and make sure that you got on the whole armor as you walk out day by day, because you're going to encounter things that'll rock your nerves, that'll destroy your mind. But you got to say, Lord, I trust you. And I'm a believer that God has the final say so in all situations. I'm a believer that the will of God is going to be done. No matter how much Pharaoh may lift up his voice, when God says he's going to bring you through, when God says he's going to change a situation, you can rest assured he's going to do it. You might have to go through some tough situations to get to where God said you're going to go. But when God says he's going to do it, trust me, he is going to do it. So listen, we got to rise up. We got to get ready to vote. We got to get ready to encourage others to vote. I had so much more I wanted to share with you, but I don't know when God shifts your conversation. And today it was just me and you. And I thank God for all of you. And I've been on radio. My God, I got out of prison in 2008. I've been on radio since 2008, and I'm certainly appreciative for our ministry from 2008 to now. That's well over 20 years. Can't nobody say they've sown into the radio. Can't nobody say we partnered. None of that. And can't nobody say none of that, because you can't tell me what I should say and what I shouldn't say. The only person who can tell me that is Dr. DNRB. And I don't think what I say is out of line. I think it's in line. So therefore, I'm grateful for the support that Life Church International gives me to be a voice, not only to be a voice, but to stand strong in what I believe for people, not for me. I mean, if I was to be living my life for me, I mean, I'll be in a whole nother city right now, relaxed. But day by day, I wake up with a fight. Day by day, I wake up to make sure justice is seen. Day by day, I wake up to fight for people who I feel like should be serving our community. Day by day, I wake up to make sure the playing fields are even. Day by day, I wake up attending to somebody's need who's feeling like they've been treated unfairly. Day by day. And I promise you, this election cycle, we're going to work hard to make sure the right people are serving in positions. And when they get in the positions, we're going to hold them accountable to do what needs to be done. That's the problem. We get people elected. We get them elected. They come around. They talk good. They speak Ebonics to us. We get them elected. And then guess what? We can't even get a conversation with them when they get in. But we're going to change that. Until next week, I might as well put on the change going to come. I might as well find it and put it on, because that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Whatever needs to happen, however it needs to happen, a change going to come. You know, I learned a lot of things in prison. And in prison, I learned all you have is your word. So when you give people your word, honor them. You ain't got no money. Only thing you got is your word. And when people don't honor their words, it bothers me. Until next week, listen, I'm just going to let you know the way they say it. There it is. I'm gone. Let's get ready to vote like never before. Why? Here it is. Listen, it's time, man. Sandra, thank you. She said, I'll join you. That's what it's about. I'm serious about them. Let's stop it. I mean, we gotta be fair. Hallelujah. Bless you all. Listen, let's get involved. Let's get excited. Let's get inspired. Let's study to know who our candidates are. For those of you in Tallahassee, meet me tonight over at Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. It starts at 6. All right? Be blessed.